The bizarre thing about my life, if somebody were to be looking through various things I've shared, which I couldn't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. And anyway, my whole project, so to speak, project is the wrong word, life, 7 years actually, 8 years, is to attempt to have one or two friends who you can rely on, who, if you drop dead, because 7 or 8 years ago I had a few years where I had demoles from an extremely old house. I'd been living there 3 or 4 years, and it had got into me almost certainly, and my bodily systems went for a few years. Didn't even know. Anyway, to the point. Drop dead, reliable friends. I'm an ordinary person who does ordinary things to assist people, to pass on story to then partly estranged, but so badly mentally damaged, mainly by a cabal in another household. Unquestionably, I'm lucky. She left what she was stolen from my life, totally undamaged. She was in great nick, as confirmed by the headmistress and deputy head, and they didn't like me because I was one of the few parents who occasionally would write in letters of complaints. Langor School, why are you feeding our children sweets for every maths answer they get right? Consult book, Seeds of Change, Hobsbawm, written 25 years ago. It's a recognised, basically, poison. Anyway, to the point. So, I've tried rather a lot over the last 5 or 6 years to, I even had several women friends. Yes, I will be the person, Simon, who makes sure if you drop dead, the narrative, the correct viewpoint version of your life is passed on to your kid. Plus passwords, plus I have a few memory sticks which have got a couple of important videos. Simple as that, nothing wrong with that, completely normal. Nobody can be relied on. Several women, one in particular, who was my best friend for a while. Yeah, I'll do that. They've all got butterfly bonkers disease. Anyway, to the point. See, the funny thing about my life, and this has always been the case, so I scatter stories, riff into bits of it. It's there for my daughter. It's too much. I know that. It's much harder to do an edited highlights version. Anyway, the funny thing is this, is in actual fact, there are kind of half a dozen, maybe even a dozen phases, you could almost call them stories, that to most people I think, I'm not sure I know for certain, but to most people would seem kind of unusually, not extreme, but what's the right word? Unusually, well, they're not the kind of experiences that many people have. I'm not going to call them elite, just unusually, well, at a kind of rarefied level of experience. Now, I suppose that is the case, and I say that age 16, 17, I had a bad year, and 5 years later, 7 or 8 years later, I kind of knew, although we didn't have the language in society, openness is the key to everything. Not to have any shame. Better in than out, etc. And I do know that's true. And I mean about everything. Absolutely everything. And the British are just bizarre, anti-intellectual, stupid, performative. They want to be basically Alexei Sale, who has his good bit, but to everything. Oh, oversharing. Oh, yeah, making a joke about everything, but it is important. On balance, better out than in. And there are quite a few wiser, older people who do say this. In fact, there's a famous DJ pop star man who, about a year ago, I was listening to him talk about his recent autobiography, where he had a completely train wreck, disastrous, greedy, horrible life, and he just splurged it into an autobiography, and he said, God, I feel brilliant for that. And it's never to settle scores or anything like that. So yes, better out than in. But so here's the thing. So it's like, but most people, it's not their fault, but they haven't really. But you've got to go all the way. That's the thing. It's the all the way thing that matters. Most people, I'm not even sure if they do tell you their full stories, even people you know very well over a long period of time, because it's not taken on with probably the masses. I say probably because you don't know. People will not say to you, I've told you all my inner... Anyway, here's the point. The only reason for turning this camera on is this bizarrely is the only thing really I care about. So I have had over 45 years, 50 years in a way, 45 years, kind of unusual experiences that you could call them on the scale of 0 to 10. They're kind of 8-ish in unusualness. And I just want to scatter them all out. I have half of them, I suppose I could say. But my life, 20 years, my actual lived life, 25 years ago, is just so quietly on one such simple day-to-day pathway. None of these perhaps unusual past phases, times, experiences, none of them even out of the blue becoming quite good at law when I had we couldn't stand fucking lawyers, except for Michael Mansfield QC. He was always like, maybe he's a goodie. But taking up law and ending up being an advocate for people facing terrible stuff in the High Court with no official training, things like that. I mean, that's what people would call a pretty 9 out of 10 experience. Yeah, that just came about 17 or 18 years ago. But none of these things, my life is just so, I'm lucky because of children I knew 25 years ago, 30 years ago actually, in 1992 in a front room with a woman called Katrina and then our friend Vanya. It's like, that's all I'm about. Kids, just healthy day-to-day existence for them, which is totally dedicating yourself to everything about them. Yeah, so it's like, for a load of interesting experiences, I am just so prosaically, quietly along one simple, unglamorous pathway. And I wouldn't want anybody to think anything different, actually. Because that's who I am. That's the key to it all. Not taking any of it, no, not letting any dramatic or even experience or even achievement or anything like that really divert you if you know what you're about. It's kind of good and kind of healthy. That's it.